The homeless man entered the sewing shop 5 minutes before closing. Snow covered his shoulders. One sleeve of his coat hung open from elbow to wrist. Behind the counter, Naomi Brooks looked at the torn fabric and then at the clock. "I can't replace the whole sleeve tonight," she said. "I only need it closed." His voice was calm, but his hands were shaking. Naomi stepped closer. The coat was expensive beneath the dirt. Hand-stitched lining, custom buttons, fabric that did not belong on someone sleeping outside. "How did this tear?" "I caught it on a fence." "That fence must have hated you." The man almost smiled. Naomi owned a narrow alteration shop in downtown Baltimore. She was 36, recently separated, and supporting her 8-year-old daughter alone. Rent was overdue. The heat had been shut off twice that winter. Every repair mattered. Still, she noticed the man had no gloves. "Can you pay?" she asked. He searched his pockets and found $3. "The repair should have cost $40. Before we continue, ask yourself this. Would you help someone when kindness might cost more than you can afford?" Naomi took the coat from him. "Sit near the space heater. I don't want charity." "Good. I'm not offering charity. You have $3. I have 20 minutes. He removed the coat carefully. Underneath, his shirt was damp and torn near the collar. "My name is Adrian," he said. "Naomi." She threaded her strongest needle and examined the damage. The outer fabric had ripped cleanly, but something inside the lining felt unusual. A thin metal access card had been stitched into a hidden pocket. Naomi pulled it halfway out. The name printed across it read, "Adrian Cole, Chairman, Cole International Group." She looked toward the man beside the heater. Adrian Cole was a billionaire investor whose company owned half the commercial buildings on the block, including hers. What Naomi did not know was that Adrian had not chosen homelessness as a disguise. Hours earlier, his car had been attacked after a private board meeting. His driver was injured, his phone was destroyed, and his security team lost contact with him. Adrian escaped through an alley before the attackers could follow. He had come into Naomi's shop because it was the only place still open. He had not told her who he was because he did not know whom inside his company he could trust. Naomi slid the card back into the lining. Then she noticed blood soaking through the torn seam. "This didn't happen on a fence," she said. Adrian looked toward the locked front door. At that exact moment, a black SUV stopped outside the shop. 3 men stepped onto the sidewalk, and one of them carried a photograph of Adrian. Naomi moved away from the window. "Do you know those men?" Adrian stood slowly despite the pain in his side. "I know one of them." That was not reassuring. The tallest man approached the shop door and tried the handle. Naomi had already locked it. He knocked twice. "Store security," he called. "We're looking for an injured man." Naomi looked at Adrian. "They don't look like security." "They aren't." Her daughter, Leela, was doing homework in the back room. Naomi lowered her voice. "My child is here." Adrian's expression changed immediately. "Then you should give them the coat and tell them I left." "You think that will protect us?" "It may." The man outside knocked harder. "Open the door." Naomi walked toward the counter but kept her distance from the entrance. "We're closed." He held up the photograph. "This man may be dangerous." Adrian gave a quiet, humorless laugh. Naomi looked at him. "What?" "That picture came from my company security file." One of the men moved toward the alley beside the shop. Naomi understood what he was doing. "They're covering the back exit." Adrian nodded. "Is there another way out?" "The basement connects to the bakery next door. Take your daughter and go." "What about you?" "I'll delay them." Naomi crossed her arms. "You can barely stand." Another knock shook the glass. Adrian reached into the torn lining of his coat and removed the metal access card. "Call the number on the back. Ask for Maya Grant." Naomi turned the card over. A private emergency number was printed beneath a security seal. "Who is she?" "My head of personal security." "And you trust her?" "I trusted everyone this morning." That answer told Naomi enough. She called. A woman answered immediately. "Cole, executive response." Naomi kept her voice low. "I'm with Adrian Cole." Silence followed. Then the woman asked, "What is the authentication phrase?" Adrian answered from across the room. "Blue Harbor, 17. The woman's tone changed. "Mr. Cole, where are you?" Before Adrian could respond, the front window shattered. Naomi dropped behind the counter. Lila screamed from the back room. One man reached through the broken glass and unlocked the door. Adrian grabbed a heavy tailoring stand and pushed it against the entrance. "Take Lila downstairs." Naomi ran to the back room and found her daughter crying beside the sewing tables. She pulled her close. Then she heard Adrian shout. The doorframe cracked. Naomi could have escaped through the basement. Instead, she saw the repaired coat lying beside her sewing machine. Inside the lining was more than an access card. There was a small encrypted drive stitched beneath the collar. The men were not hunting Adrian because he was wealthy. They were hunting whatever he had hidden inside that coat. Naomi pulled the encrypted drive from the hidden seam. Adrian saw it in her hand. Do not let them take that. The tailoring stand scraped across the floor as the men forced the door wider. Naomi grabbed Lila's hand. Basement, now. They ran through the back room and down the narrow wooden stairs. Adrian followed, one hand pressed against his bleeding side. Above them, glass shattered again. The basement smelled of dust, fabric dye, and old brick. Naomi unlocked the connecting door to the bakery next door. It did not open. She tried again. The owner changed the lock. Adrian looked toward the small street-level window near the ceiling. Can Lila fit through there? Naomi measured the opening with her eyes. Yes. She lifted her daughter onto a work table. Go through the window and run to Mrs. Ellis at the pharmacy. Lila's face tightened. What about you? We're right behind you. It was a promise Naomi did not know she could keep. Adrian helped push the window outward. Lila crawled through and disappeared into the snowy alley. Footsteps reached the basement stairs. Naomi handed Adrian the drive. He pushed it back toward her. They will search me first. What is on it? Board records, offshore payments, evidence that someone inside Coal International has been stealing from pension accounts. Naomi stared at him. You hid financial evidence inside a coat? I had no safe device after the attack, and now my shop is being destroyed because of it. Yes. He did not soften the answer. I am sorry. One of the men entered the basement. Adrian stepped in front of Naomi. The attacker raised a metal bar. Naomi grabbed a heavy steam iron from the work table and threw it toward the wall beside him. The impact burst an exposed pipe. Hot steam filled the basement. The man shouted and stumbled backward. Naomi pulled Adrian toward the storage shelves. Can you fight? Not well enough. Good. I hate unrealistic plans. They moved through the steam toward a coal chute at the rear wall. Adrian forced the rusted panel open. Cold air rushed inside. Naomi climbed through first, then pulled him after her. They emerged behind the bakery as sirens approached from the main street. Maya Grant's security team had arrived. 2 attackers ran from Naomi's shop and were stopped near the broken entrance. The third remained inside. Adrian leaned against the brick wall. Naomi held the drive tightly. Then Maya reached them. She looked at Adrian, then at the object in Naomi's hand. Mr. Cole, who else knows you have that? Adrian's face changed. Only my chief financial officer. Maya went still. That man reported you dead 20 minutes ago. Maya led Adrian and Naomi into an armored SUV, while police secured the sewing shop. Lila was safe at the pharmacy with Mrs. Ellis. Naomi refused to leave until she saw her daughter through the window. Only then did she enter the vehicle. Maya opened a secure laptop. Your chief financial officer, Raymond Sloan, contacted the board 20 minutes ago, she said. He claimed your car exploded and no survivors were found. Adrian looked toward the street. My driver was alive when I escaped. We found him. He is in surgery. Naomi held the encrypted drive against her coat. Why would Raymond announce Adrian's death before anyone confirmed it? Maya answered carefully. Because dead chairmen cannot challenge emergency transfers of authority. Adrian looked at the screen. Raymond had scheduled a board vote for midnight. If approved, he would gain temporary control over Coal International's investment accounts. The company managed retirement funds for thousands of teachers, factory workers, and hospital employees. Naomi's expression hardened. So he was not only stealing, he was preparing to erase the evidence, Adrian said. Maya connected the encrypted drive to an isolated device. A password screen appeared. Adrian entered 3 codes. The files opened. Payment records showed money moving from employee pension accounts into offshore shell companies. Several transfers carried Raymond's authorization, but another name appeared repeatedly. Coal International's property director, Vanessa Holt. Naomi recognized it immediately. She manages this block. Adrian turned toward her. How do you know? She raised my rent twice this year. Then she offered to cancel my lease if I sold my equipment and left quietly. Maya searched the files. Vanessa had marked Naomi's building for rapid acquisition. The plan was to clear the entire block and sell it to a luxury development company. Adrian stared at his own digital signature beneath the approval. I authorized a redevelopment portfolio 6 months ago. Naomi looked at him. You signed away my shop without reading the tenants' names. I reviewed financial summaries. That is not better. No. Adrian did not defend himself. Maya found another folder. It contained photographs of small business owners, rent records, medical debts, and personal vulnerabilities. Naomi's file included her separation, overdue utilities, and Lila's school schedule. Her face went cold. They investigated my daughter? Adrian looked sick. This happened under my company. It happened because your company believed poor tenants were easier to pressure. Maya interrupted. Raymond's board vote begins in 40 minutes. Adrian reached for the laptop. Naomi pulled the drive away. You are injured, hunted, and still talking like the only solution is putting you back in control. What do you suggest? Protect the evidence first. Then let the pension holders and tenants hear the truth before your board decides anything. Adrian looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Do it. For the first time that night, he surrendered control before someone forced him to. Maya rerouted the encrypted files to 3 secure locations. One copy went to federal investigators. Another went to outside counsel representing the pension funds. The third went to a court-approved evidence server. Raymond could no longer erase everything with one command. Adrian sat beside Naomi in the armored SUV, while Maya connected them to the emergency board meeting. Raymond appeared on screen from Cole International's headquarters. He wore a black suit and a solemn expression. Adrian Cole is presumed dead, he told the directors. The company requires immediate stability. Adrian leaned toward the camera. Then stability can wait. Raymond froze. Several directors began speaking at once. Adrian's image appeared on the conference screen. His shirt was stained with blood, and a bandage covered his side. Raymond recovered quickly. Adrian, thank God. We were given incorrect information. You gave the information. That is absurd. Maya uploaded the offshore transfer records. Payment charts filled every director's screen. Adrian did not begin with Raymond. He began with himself. I approved systems that concentrated too much authority in too few offices, he said. I also signed redevelopment plans without reviewing how tenants were treated. Naomi looked at him. He did not mention her name. That mattered. Raymond leaned forward. These files may be fabricated. Naomi held up the encrypted drive. They came from the coat your men tried to steal. Raymond stared at her. And who are you? The tenant your property division expected nobody to believe. Vanessa Holt joined the call from another office. She has no standing in this meeting. Naomi's voice remained steady. You collected my financial records, my daughter's school schedule, and my utility debts. I have standing in what your company did to us. The directors looked toward Vanessa. She denied knowing about the personal files. Maya displayed her access history. Vanessa had opened Naomi's profile 14 times. Raymond tried to end the meeting. Adrian stopped him. No vote will continue until pension representatives and tenant council receive the evidence. One director objected. That could expose the company to billions in liability. It should, Naomi said. People lost retirement money and businesses because silence was cheaper. Adrian looked at the board. She is right. The emergency vote was cancelled. Raymond and Vanessa lost access to corporate systems pending investigation. Then Maya received a message from federal agents. The attackers arrested outside Naomi's shop had confessed. Raymond had ordered Adrian's murder. Vanessa had provided Naomi's address because she believed the drive might be hidden there. Naomi looked toward the shattered storefront across the street. Her kindness had not caused the danger. Adrian's company had brought it to her door, and now he had to decide whether repairing that damage meant more than repairing one sewing shop. By sunrise, Raymond Sloan and Vanessa Holt were in federal custody. Adrian was taken to the hospital under guard. The wound in his side required surgery, but doctors expected a full recovery. Naomi returned to her sewing shop with Lila. The front window was gone. Machines were overturned. Fabric lay soaked beneath broken pipes. Lila stood beside the doorway. Can we fix it? Naomi looked at the room where she had built dresses, repaired uniforms, and taught her daughter to thread a needle. I don't know. A black company vehicle stopped outside. 2 contractors approached carrying repair estimates. Naomi blocked the entrance. Who sent you? Cole International. Take the estimates back. One contractor looked confused. They were told to restore everything. That company owns the building. Fixing damage connected to its executives is not a favor. She pointed toward the paperwork. But nobody enters my shop until tenants choose the contractors and approve the work. The men left. At the hospital, Maya told Adrian what happened. He reached for his phone. Then he stopped. What does Naomi want? She wants every affected tenant represented before repairs begin. Not only her shop? No. Vanessa's files showed that 17 businesses had faced pressure across 4 Cole-owned properties. A barber had lost his lease after reporting mold. A family grocery store had been fined for repairs the landlord delayed. 2 tenants had already closed. Adrian ordered the entire redevelopment program frozen. Then he created an independent tenant fund, controlled by outside legal trustees. Maya looked at him. You cannot appoint the tenant representatives yourself. I know. The tenants elected their own council. Naomi was chosen as one of 5 members, but she refused the chair position. This should not become my personal fight, she said. Everyone here was targeted. The council demanded rent reviews, restored leases, compensation for documented losses, and permanent limits on data collection. Coal International accepted the terms. Several board members objected. One director warned that returning closed businesses to the block would reduce redevelopment profits. Adrian answered from his hospital bed. Then those profits depended on removing people who lacked bargaining power. The independent review reopened every property agreement Vanessa had approved. Naomi's lease was extended under the same protections offered to every tenant. No private discount. No special gift. 3 weeks later, her shop reopened. Adrian arrived after closing, wearing a plain winter coat. The torn coat Naomi had repaired was folded over his arm. "You kept it," she said. "You saved more than the sleeve." Naomi's expression tightened. "Do not turn that night into a romantic story." "I won't." He placed the $3 on the counter. "You completed the work." Naomi looked at the money. "The full repair cost $40. Adrian nodded. "Then send me an invoice." For the first time, he understood that paying what he owed was not generosity. It was simply respect. The tenant council held its first public meeting inside the reopened grocery store. Every chair was filled. Some owners wanted compensation. Others wanted long-term leases before investing another dollar into their businesses. Naomi sat beside the barber, the grocer, and 2 former tenants who had already been forced out. Adrian attended without lawyers at his table. He sat in the second row. The council chair opened the meeting. "Coal International will answer questions, but it will not control the agenda." Adrian nodded. The first speaker was Mr. Alvarez, who had lost his family restaurant after Vanessa delayed plumbing repairs. "My lease was terminated because the building became unsafe," he said. "The company caused the damage, then blamed me for it." Adrian looked at the independent review. "The evidence supports your claim." Mr. Alvarez crossed his arms. "I did not ask whether you believed me." Adrian paused. "You're right. The record supports your claim." The distinction mattered. The company agreed to restore his lease and reimburse documented losses through the neutral fund. Then the barber spoke. His shop had been closed after mold spread through a wall Coal International refused to repair. One case followed another. Adrian heard the same pattern repeatedly. Executives delayed maintenance. Property managers created violations. Tenants were pressured into leaving before redevelopment began. Naomi watched him carefully. He did not interrupt. He did not explain that he had never seen the individual files. When his turn came, he stood. "I signed policies that rewarded properties for increasing revenue and reducing repair costs," he said. "Those policies made abuse profitable." A board representative shifted uncomfortably. Adrian continued. "Removing Raymond and Vanessa does not remove the system that protected them." He proposed permanent tenant voting seats on Coal International's Property Oversight Committee. Naomi raised one hand. "Proposals are not protection." "What would be?" "Binding authority. Tenants must be able to stop evictions, redevelopment, or rent increases, while complaints are under independent review." Several business owners applauded. Adrian looked toward his legal counsel. The attorney whispered that such authority would reduce company control. "That is the point," Adrian said. The revised agreement passed 2 weeks later. Tenants gained access to maintenance records, valuation reports, and redevelopment plans before decisions became final. No property division could collect personal information about children, medical debts, or family circumstances. Naomi's file was deleted under outside supervision. After the meeting, Adrian found her near the damaged front window. "You changed the entire property system," he said. "No," Naomi replied. "The tenants changed it. You finally stopped preventing them." Adrian accepted the correction. Then Maya called. Federal investigators had recovered one final document from Raymond's office. It showed that the stolen pension money had not all gone overseas. A large portion had been used to purchase the company's own buildings through hidden shell corporations, and one of those buildings contained Naomi's shop. The tenant council held its first public meeting inside the reopened grocery store. Every chair was filled. Some owners wanted compensation. Others wanted long-term leases before investing another dollar into their businesses. Naomi sat beside the barber, the grocer, and 2 former tenants who had already been forced out. Adrian attended without lawyers at his table. He sat in the second row. The council chair opened the meeting. "Coal International will answer questions, but it will not control the agenda." Adrian nodded. The first speaker was Mr. Alvarez, who had lost his family restaurant after Vanessa delayed plumbing repairs. "My lease was terminated because the building became unsafe," he said. "The company caused the damage, then blamed me for it." Adrian looked at the independent review. "The evidence supports your claim." Mr. Alvarez crossed his arms. "I did not ask whether you believed me." Adrian paused. "You're right. The record supports your claim." The distinction mattered. The company agreed to restore his lease and reimburse documented losses through the neutral fund. Then the barber spoke. His shop had been closed after mold spread through a wall Cole International refused to repair. One case followed another. Adrian heard the same pattern repeatedly. Executives delayed maintenance. Property managers created violations. Tenants were pressured into leaving before redevelopment began. Naomi watched him carefully. He did not interrupt. He did not explain that he had never seen the individual files. When his turn came, he stood. "I signed policies that rewarded properties for increasing revenue and reducing repair costs," he said. "Those policies made abuse profitable." A board representative shifted uncomfortably. Adrian continued. "Removing Raymond and Vanessa does not remove the system that protected them." He proposed permanent tenant voting seats on Cole International's Property Oversight Committee. Naomi raised one hand. "Proposals are not protection. What would be? Binding authority. Tenants must be able to stop evictions, redevelopment, or rent increases while complaints are under independent review." Several business owners applauded. Adrian looked toward his legal counsel. The attorney whispered that such authority would reduce company control. "That is the point," Adrian said. The revised agreement passed 2 weeks later. Tenants gained access to maintenance records, valuation reports, and redevelopment plans before decisions became final. No property division could collect personal information about children, medical debts, or family circumstances. Naomi's file was deleted under outside supervision. After the meeting, Adrian found her near the damaged front window. "You changed the entire property system," he said. "No," Naomi replied. "The tenants changed it. You finally stopped preventing them." Adrian accepted the correction. Then Maya called. Federal investigators had recovered one final document from Raymond's office. It showed that the stolen pension money had not all gone overseas. A large portion had been used to purchase the company's own buildings through hidden shell corporations, and one of those buildings contained Naomi's shop. The recovered document listed 6 shell corporations connected to Raymond Sloan. Each company appeared independent. All 6 were controlled through the same offshore trust. One of them had purchased Naomi's building from Cole International 3 years earlier. Adrian studied the transaction. The company sold the property to Raymond's Shell Corporation. Maya nodded. Then Cole International leased it back and continued managing the tenants. Naomi looked at the ownership record. "So Vanessa raised our rent on a building Raymond secretly owned." "Yes, and company money paid rent back to him." Adrian's expression hardened. Raymond had used stolen pension funds to purchase buildings below market value. He then collected rent through hidden companies while Cole International carried maintenance costs. The scheme harmed both pension holders and tenants. Naomi pointed toward Adrian's signature on the original sale. "You approved this too." He read the document. The building had been buried inside a portfolio labeled underperforming assets. "I did." "You did not know Raymond owned the buyer." "No. But you approved selling a building full of businesses without asking who would control it." "Yes." Adrian did not search for softer words. Federal investigators froze the Shell Corporation's assets. The building entered court supervision, while ownership was reviewed. Several board members wanted Cole International to purchase it back immediately. Naomi opposed the plan. "You do not solve hidden ownership by returning everything to the same powerful company." Adrian looked at her. "What do the tenants want?" The council met that evening. Some wanted the building transferred into a community trust. Others feared they could not afford repairs, taxes, and insurance. Naomi proposed shared ownership. Tenants would control redevelopment, leases, and commercial use. An independent fund would cover major structural repairs while the stolen assets were recovered. Cole International could provide financing but receive no ownership stake. The company's attorneys resisted. Adrian did not. "The tenants should not pay twice for property already purchased with their retirement money," he said. A federal judge approved the temporary trust. Pension representatives and tenants received equal oversight seats. No one person controlled the building. 3 months later, investigators recovered enough assets to stabilize the pension accounts and repair the neglected properties. Raymond and Vanessa remained in custody awaiting trial. Adrian kept his position as chairman, but the board removed his exclusive authority over property sales and pension investments. Naomi watched the final oversight vote from her sewing shop. She had repaired one torn coat. That small act had uncovered a company built on ignored signatures, hidden ownership, and people expected to remain silent. Then Adrian entered carrying a new document. It was not a lease. It was an application for the vacant workshop beside Naomi's shop. He wanted to fund a free tailoring program for displaced workers. Naomi looked at him. "You do not get to create this alone." Adrian nodded. "That is why the application is addressed to the tenant council." The tenant council reviewed Adrian's application the following week. Naomi sat with 4 other representatives inside the vacant workshop. Dust covered the windows. Old sewing tables leaned against one wall. Adrian waited outside until the council invited him in. Naomi opened the meeting. You proposed a free tailoring program for displaced workers. Yes. Who controls the budget? The tenant trust. Who hires the instructors? The council. And what does Cole International receive? No ownership, branding rights, or publicity access. The grocer beside Naomi raised an eyebrow. Then why fund it? Adrian answered carefully. Because money connected to this building harmed the people living and working here. Returning resources without controlling them is part of repairing that damage. Naomi studied him. That answer sounds rehearsed. It was. My lawyers hated it. Several council members laughed. Naomi did not, but her expression softened. The council approved a 6-month pilot program. Former tenants, laid-off hospitality workers, and single parents could apply for paid training. Local seamstresses would receive professional wages to teach. Naomi refused to become the program's public face. She agreed to design the curriculum only after the council approved her contract through the same process used for everyone else. Adrian accepted every condition. A month later, the workshop opened without his name on the door. The first class included 12 students. One was Mr. Alvarez's daughter, who wanted to learn uniform repair. Another was a former hotel housekeeper rebuilding her career after an injury. Adrian attended the opening from the back row. He gave no speech. After class, Naomi found him folding fabric badly. You are creating more work, she said. I was told participation matters, not when the folds are crooked. She showed him the correct method. Their hands touched briefly. Neither pretended it meant more than it did. Outside, reporters waited for a statement about Raymond's upcoming trial. Adrian declined. This program belongs to the block, he said. Ask the council. Naomi heard him from the doorway. For the first time, he had used his influence to redirect attention instead of collecting it. That did not erase the past, but it gave her one more reason to watch what he did next. 3 months later, Adrian returned to Naomi's shop carrying the same repaired coat. This time, the sleeve was intact. You need another alteration? She asked. No. I came to pay the final invoice. He placed the remaining $37 on the counter. Naomi counted it. Now we are even. For the coat, Adrian said. Only the coat. He nodded. Outside, the training workshop was closing for the evening. Lila waited near the door with a school project under her arm. Adrian looked at Naomi. Would you have dinner with me Saturday? This is not gratitude. No. And you are not buying the restaurant. I promise. One dinner, Naomi said. No cameras, no gifts, no future promises. One honest dinner. She allowed a small smile. Naomi had repaired his coat when she believed he had nothing. Adrian finally understood that kindness did not purchase trust. It only gave him the chance to earn it. One honest stitch at a time. Do you think Adrian earned another chance? Share your thoughts, and stay with us for more heartfelt stories.